Julian Newman was an absolute star when he was growing up, but as he started to get older, all the hype and attention just slowly faded away. So what really happened to Julian Newman? I wasn't going to make a video on Julian Newman just because of the fact that there's so many out there on YouTube. But I do have a high school basketball channel and a ton of you guys have requested this video for a very long time. And Matt is a fan of the people, so I'm going to give you guys what you want. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Before we get into his downfall, I gotta give you guys the backstory of how he rose to the top first. And you guys already know, to get into that, we gotta throw it all the way back to where things started. When Julian was growing up, he was nothing short of a prodigy. I know he gets a lot of hate now, but when he was younger, he was one of the most skilled players for his age. He went extremely viral when he was only around in 4th or 5th grade. And the reason for that was because he had insane handles and a very deep 3-point jump shot. Now, did he over dribble and do unnecessary dribble moves? Of course, but it was entertaining to watch. Most kids when they're in 6th and 7th and even 8th grade, they're playing on their middle school basketball team. However, Julian Newman started playing on his varsity team when he was only in 5th grade. In most states, that's still elementary school, so that's crazy. And at the time, he was only listed at 4'5" and 70 pounds. We really need to give him credit where credit was due. That's almost crazy to think about because he was going up against grown men. And he didn't even look like he was a part of the team. At almost every road game they went to, they would ask him, yo, are you even playing in the game? But yes, this 11-year-old 5th grader was a part of the team and he was participating, and not only participating, he was actually doing pretty decent. Imagine being a 10th or 11th grader and a 5th grader took your starting position. You would probably be mad, wouldn't you? Believe it or not, his teammates actually accepted him and they didn't even have any hate towards him. A big reason for that was probably because Julian Newman was better than them. I don't care. If I was in 10th grade and a 5th grader were starting over me, I still wouldn't admit it. When Newman was already 3, this is when he first started getting really interested in basketball. And from the jump, his father put him into leagues with older competition and a regular sized ball so he could get used to the varsity level. And when he was growing up, his father every day had him shoot 100 free throws, 200 floaters, and 200 jump shots. If you can't do simple math, that's around 500 shots a day, and that's just what he was doing at practice. As just a 5th grader, he actually did start out playing for his middle school basketball team. But he quickly made the jump to the varsity level after scoring 91 points in a single game. And for his 5th grade year, he led his team to an 18-5 record. And around this time, this is when he really started to gain a lot of attention on Instagram, YouTube, and every social media platform. Like I said, it was for very good reason though, and this is when he also developed a quote-unquote prodigy nickname. With all that attention, there also came a lot of pressure for this young kid to succeed at a very young age. When it was all said and done, for his 5th grade year on varsity, he averaged 12.2 points per game, 10.5 assists, and 3.7 rebounds. He averaged a double-double on his varsity team as a 5th grader. What in the world? You guys can hate on him and say what you want, but I guarantee a bunch of you guys can't even do that as a senior on your varsity team. So of course, with having a good 5th grade year, going into 6th grade, he had somewhat pretty big expectations. And for his 6th grade season, he jumped his points per game up to 17.4 and once again had a pretty good assist margin at 9.8. I think we can all agree that's not too bad, but it didn't just stop there. He went even more viral. This is when Max Preps proclaimed him as the best 6th grader in the state. It doesn't just stop there. He had a video on YouTube get over 3.5 million views. Then he was included in Sports Illustrated and the New York Times. And if that wasn't enough for you, he made television appearances on Steve Harvey, The Ellen Show, and Good Morning America. And last but not least, he was invited to perform at the halftime performance at the Orlando Magic game. That all happened in the span of a couple of months. What a year for just a 6th grader. And you guys are getting the gist of everything. He was almost on every website that was proclaiming him as the next big thing. And at the time, he was the next big thing. But as you guys know, that changed. Going into his 7th grade year, he passed 1,000 career varsity points. And as a 7th grader, he averaged 19.8 points per game, 10.2 assists, and 4.3 rebounds. Once again, very impressive stats for such a young kid playing on the varsity level. And for his 7th grade year, he led his team to once again a pretty decent record of 18-9. Flash forward in time to his 8th grade season, he was now listed at 5'5", which isn't crazy tall, but people still thought he would grow some more. In 30 games played, he averaged 23.9 points per game, which is a pretty big jump from the previous years, but he also pitched an 11.4 assists per game. So that's 4 straight years of pretty great numbers on the varsity level. So at this point in time, with him going into his freshman year, everybody had the same question: just how good can he get, or can he even get any better? And now this is where our story doesn't take a drastic turn, but a very slow turn. As Julian Newman entered his freshman year of high school basketball, he was now listed at 5'7". And with him putting up some pretty great numbers, this also gave him some confidence, but it might have been too much confidence. For his freshman year, he averaged 28.6 points per game, 8.6 assists, and 4.6 rebounds, and 3.7 steals. As just a freshman, I gotta give credit where credit is due. He put up remarkable numbers. And I know a lot of people call him a ball hog, but as just a freshman, he shot 54% from the 3-point line. So it's not like he was jacking up a lot of shots, he was actually scoring at a very efficient rate. But this is where the downfall of Julian Newman started to happen. At this point in time of our story, which is his freshman year, this is when he hit his peak. This is when he reached his peak in basketball and performed at his highest ability possible, and that's it. And at the same time, he also started to get really cocky and had a bad attitude problem. There's a huge difference from being confident and cocky, and I think he was more on the cocky side. But hey, I'm not here to criticize this young man, I'm just here to give you guys a story, so let's continue on. Before I go any farther, if any of you are confused, let me explain what I just said. When I say he reached his peak, what I'm talking about is that he can't get any better. He reached his limit for as good as he's gonna get at basketball. We see it all the time. A lot of these young stars reach their peak at a young age and other players pass them in the rankings. For example, Kyrie Walker, and there's a ton more. And in this story, it's just a great example of Julian Newman reaching his peak at a very young age. When you reach your peak, you can't get any better, so what happens is other players start to pass you. And that is exactly what happened to Julian Newman. All of his stats from here on out relatively stayed the same. He didn't get any better. Do not get it twisted though, I'm not saying he got worse, he just didn't get any better. For his sophomore year, he averaged 32.7 points per game, 7.5 assists, and 4.3 rebounds. So you see what I'm saying, his points per game only went up roughly 1 or 2, it's not a huge increase. His team also had a measly record of 20-18, so that's not too hot either. And a big reason why his team didn't have that good of a record was that Julian Newman thought he could take over and win a game by himself. This is no hate to him, but Julian Newman is not that type of player. He can't take over a game and win it by himself, he's just not built for that. So did he cost his team a couple of games here and there? Of course, but he also probably won them a few, so it evens out. And also with this quote-unquote cockiness, he would argue with the refs and even his dad during the games. I understand his coach was his dad, but I don't care who you are, you do not argue with your coach in the middle of the game. It got so bad that his own dad, which was his coach, kicked him out of a couple of practices. And not only that, but he would sit him out during games just to prove a point to Julian. And there wasn't a game throughout Julian's career where he didn't argue with an opposing team. But not only did he start to argue with opposing teams, he would then argue with his own teammates and start fights with them. If you want to be a quote-unquote prodigy and a leader, you gotta be a leader for your own team. Come on now. You can't build enemies within your own temple. It's not going to work. Anyways, with that being said, let's get into his numbers for his junior year. Like I told you, he reached his peak around his freshman year, so his numbers didn't change at all. Once again, he averaged right around 30 points per game, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. And it's kind of funny how when he was younger, his team had a better record, and as he started getting older, they had a worse record. For his junior year, which was the season 2018 through 19, his team had an overall record of 17-26. Yeah, so my boy Julian, that's not too hot. And as you guys probably know, his dad opened up his own school known as Prodigy Prep. And I'm not gonna say it was a disaster, but it wasn't nothing too special. Long story short, for his senior year, Julian Newman and his team got smacked a couple of times, and the hate just continued to build for Julian. A main part in that, like I stated, was that he was way too cocky to not be that good. If you're cocky and you're good, although it's not good to be cocky, people really can't say anything, because at least you can back it up. I think everyone has a problem with Julian Newman because he's cocky and he's not really that great. So therefore, he talks all this trash and he really can't even back it up. But hey, it is what it is. And with Julian's senior season coming to an end, everybody was like, yo, does he have offers or what's up? And I did a lot of research on this video, and a lot of sites said he did have a couple offers, but there was some that said he didn't have any. But Julian Newman and his dad actually stated that he did have offers, but hey, I don't know what's true or what to believe. They said he had some D2 offers and some very low D1 offers. But all that doesn't even matter because what I'm about to tell you right now. The quote-unquote high school sensation Julian Newman actually made the decision to skip college basketball and take a professional route. For almost every recruiting website out there, they have Julian Newman listed as unranked. So how does Julian Newman and his dad think if he's unranked, he's gonna see a lot of success on the professional level? I don't know what they're thinking. Here's my take with Julian Newman's dad. He's basically an off-brand Dollar General version of LeVar Ball. But here's the difference. LeVar Ball's sons are pretty good except for LiAngelo. So at least when LeVar Ball says crazy stuff, his sons can actually somewhat back it up. Whereas when Julian Newman's dad says something crazy, Julian really can't back it up. And I want you to keep in mind that Julian's only roughly 5'7". He's going to get beat up at the professional level. But hey, that's another story for another day. As to where he's playing professional ball, it hasn't really been said, but they have talked about playing overseas. I've heard Canada was an option for him, or even Australia. Now, however, with that being said, maybe it's not going to be that bad for him. I do think if he plays overseas or professional, or whatever you want to call it, he has somewhat of an advantage over other players. More than likely, he'll probably get beat up and not see any success, but maybe we need to look at the other side. He might be prepared for this because he's been playing against older competition almost his entire life. Now, I know I said he reached his peak, but maybe if he goes overseas, it won't be as bad as what we think. Do not twist my words, guys. I didn't say he was going to thrive and succeed. I said maybe it won't be as bad as we think. I'm not even hating on the guys. If you guys watch me, you know I do not condone any hate on my channel. I want to see everybody be great. You know, it's my channel, might be great and be very successful. But I also got to keep it 100 with y'all. Julian Newman is not a professional basketball player. He's not going to make it to the NBA. It's just not going to happen. And it especially is not going to happen with that terrible attitude and his cockiness. On another hand, I just really hope he fixes his attitude and gets way more humble than what he is. I'm wishing Julian Newman and his family the best of luck, and I hope he continues to succeed in whatever he wants to do in life. And if that's basketball, I wish him the best of luck. Julian Newman was a flat out star growing up. He had all the lights, camera, action, and he really had all the fame. But as he started to get older, all that fame, action, and everything just slowly disappeared and went away, and he somewhat turned into a villain. So the question is, can he regain all that hype and attention, or is he going to prove all the doubters and critics right? But hey man, with all this being said, that's about going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family and hit that subscribe button and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.